10.
And I'm Toten Koff.
You guys can hear us okay back there? Do I need to stand up a little bit higher? Because it ain't happening.
Anybody got a phone book?
All right, so a little bit about us.
Okay, so my name is Toten Koff. I work for Rapid7 as a deployment and training consultant for their global services. And I'm currently working on my master's degree in psychology.
I'm Ben 10. I work with a company out of Auburn Hills, Michigan called VioPoint, and I do security consulting, pen testing, and development operations. And for the last 13 years, I spent time in the healthcare industry working on security awareness and those types of things.
Yep. So, this little bit of overview for our talk today. We're going to be covering each of these. First of all, feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. This is supposed to be a discussion, kind of a dialogue. So as you have questions, just feel free to raise your hand. You don't have to wait till the end. Be a little bit less noisy than I am with my bangles. So motivations for the talk. So the way that this talk kind of started was a couple of months ago, I messaged Ben because I was starting on my degree and started working with learning about classical conditioning, setting up research experiments, stuff like that, and I wanted to apply it to security. And I knew that Ben had a lot of experience when he was at the healthcare industry, working with his users, trying to work on user awareness training, stuff like that. So we started thinking, how can we make this better? So
we got to talking, and then we got really excited, and I don't have the research or the education that Toddy has. I learned a lot of this on my own, and I learned a lot of it through failure. And if you guys came to my talk back in 2012, I highlighted a lot of those failures. Just show how many actually saw the talk from 2012 about the defense. So some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So back in 2012, I highlighted how we were failing at educating our users and why everyone was still clicking on things that they shouldn't be clicking on. I talked about different ways that you can motivate and change and get your users actually excited to actually want to be a part of your security team. We used some cool interaction things up on stage at that time, and we're going to try and do something a little bit more like that today. But when we got discussing, we asked what was the core problem. And one of those core problems is what they do in their everyday life carries over to your organization. And that's what you guys have to remember. Is that it's not just what they're doing at your org, it's what they're doing when they get home. It's what they're doing on their breaks. It's what they're doing when they should be working. Those behaviors are what we want to try and change. And to change it, we first have to figure out what those behaviors are.
What the behaviors are, why they do it. We'll talk a little bit about the habit formation loop and how there has to be a reward to make the habit stick. And so that's kind of our trick, is to figure out how can we get our users inclined to pick up these secure habits and not only do them at home, but also bring it into the workplace. Because if you do one, they'll naturally do it at the other.
So let's look at some failures. So we have to explain this, okay? There are failures, and guess what? Some of them are us. Whoa, I know you're perfect, okay? I didn't say you, I said us.
Us.
We're the reason that all your users... No, it's actually you too. So, let me demonstrate. Oh, do we have audio?
Oh, no.
Do we have audio? Do we not have audio?
It's okay, it's an ad.
It's an ad? So let me demonstrate this ad. Do we have audio? Oh, I've got audio. Hold on. I don't even know how to computer. Oh, sorry. This is gonna hurt. It's okay. I think I got it. Let's see.
Oh.
This is great. Do we have audio? Is there someone that can audio for us?
Oh, video crew.
Hold on. You know what? Just stop. Simple solutions.
It's like they work with computers or something.
But it's not even coming through. Great. You guys all messed up my audio now. Oh, it's coming through here. Hold on. Playback devices. You know what? I don't even want to hear it. Set as default.
Is it plugged in? Did you turn it off? Someone told me I need to browser on my computer. Could you...
Come on, Jen. Do whatever you want.
I need a browser on my computer. Could you install one, please?
You don't have a browser on your computer. What does that sound? Is that coming from your laptop? It's not supposed to sound... What the... What's all that crap? How long has that been? I haven't seen that one since the 90s. Oh, Jen, I have to fix this.
No, leave it. I have it how I like it.
How you like it? No, Jen, it's infected. If this was a human being, I'd shoot it in the face.
I just want you to install a browser.
That's the browser there. Look at it, that's the browser. Internet Explorer is a browser. Behind the picture of the lady. The lady's not supposed to be there.
She's only there sometimes. But what's the E? That's a button for the internet, Roy.
The button for the internet? Jesus Christ.
Oh, shut up. I'm not a stupid geeky geek.
Jen, you don't need to be a geek to know that you need a browser to access the internet.
Yes, you do, because as soon as you know something like that, it pushes out something important, and before you know it, you're painting little figurines from Lord of the Rings.
You know what, Jen? Do whatever you want. I don't care. You want to walk around with a laptop from The Exorcist? That's just fine. It's not my problem. Our time is too valuable.
So that's how our users see us, as these geeky geek type people who bust into their office and tell them that they're doing something wrong and we need to mess up their stuff and it's going to keep them from doing their job or checking Facebook on their break or whatever.
So there were multiple things there. One, the irritation. Doggone it, why don't you know? That immediately creates a situation to where the user's like, dude, how many of your users love calling IT? You guys are liars. They don't. Because why? Because you guys are so frustrated dealing with their crap that you don't want to deal with it. Or you sit there and leave the ticket there. Oh, here's Ben again. He doesn't know how to hook up the audio on his laptop. Yeah, that guy, you should have seen his talk. The guy couldn't even figure out how to hold a mic to the speaker. But that's how you treat them. So they're not going to want to talk to you. They're not going to want to deal with you. So that's the first problem. The second problem is when you actually get there, you treat them like they're complete imbeciles.
Well, you should.
Sometimes we have to tell little white lies. But no, that's the whole idea. So they don't want to actually interact with us. They don't want to do it. And they have a job to do, just like you do. And they're getting yelled at by their managers because they have deliverables to meet. They have things they have to get done. And every time that you do something with security, it stops them from getting their job done. That's the way it is. It's not easy. It's not seamless. So oftentimes, they will take the onus onto themselves to figure it out. And thus, we have the situation that we have today. So that's one part of the problem. The next part.
So it goes into what Ben is saying is, we're getting in the way of them doing their jobs. They have their desktops and their browser and everything like that set up the way that they're used to most efficiently do their job. And then when we do things like install a new security product where if they go to a certain page where they have to go every single day to do their job and they get the alert that says insecure SSL, they'll just automatically add an exception and then that becomes the habit. So if they navigate to an unsafe site where they shouldn't be accepting that exception, they're going to do it automatically because that's what they're used to. They're like, well, I do it for work. It doesn't matter because that's how we design things.
Right. And the third part is developers, but I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. So another motivation for this talk was to, for this one was why the talk. And we know that our users are ill-equipped, ill-prepared. A lot of us are, even on our own teams, are under-resourced to be able to handle the situation. So there was another motivation for this talk, and this goes into what Megan was really talking about, was forming secure habits.
So we think that if we show them this PowerPoint slide once a year that they skip through and they, guess on the questions, if there are questions, that, they fulfill their security obligation to your organization. They don't sit there and they don't watch your presentation. They probably don't even really take your quiz. And if they fail the quiz, there's no repercussions. So what's the motivation? Why should they sit through your training, first of all, and second of all, do any of this stuff? for example, you have your 15-character passwords with stars and asterisks and dollar signs, and they're going to write it on a piece of paper and tape it to their laptop, right? Because otherwise they can't remember it.
Right. And so, you know, and the other thing is that it's seamless when they go home. You see, that's the other thing too, is we forget that when they're at home, they do things completely differently than when they do so in the organization. So when you think about it, what they do at home doesn't carry over to the office. Well, actually it does. It's just all the negative, bad habits. So you're trying desperately to force this down their throat at your company without realizing that the habits are being reinforced the moment that they check out, the moment that they go home. Those habits are just reinforced. So how do we begin to change what they do when they're not at your organization? What do we work on so that way, as they learn in your organization, it actually will carry over to their home?
Right.
And that's when that whole Pavlovian response actually will begin to change. So
is the next part the demo?
no, I think it's a motivation. So
All right, so raise awareness level. It goes into education a bit because we teach them, or try to teach them, keep an eye out for these sort of characteristics, these sort of warning signs that bad things are going to happen to you and your computer. But if they're not motivated to, first of all, pay attention to the training, or second of all, there's no motivation for them to take it at home or bring it back to work, right? Then the awareness level is going to stay low, and we keep that threat open. That threat is still present in our organization. So how do we raise awareness levels that's not the traditional PowerPoint?
right. And it's a buy-in, right? It's a buy-in. How many of your users are buy into your security, have come down and said, man, thank you so much?
Liar.
Unless you saw my talk in 2012.
Oh,
Yeah. See, it doesn't happen.
No.
Because there's no buy-in. They're not excited about it.
Management, it doesn't back us as much as we would like.
Right. We don't have the resources. We're underfunded. And the fact of the matter is, it's frustrating. It is really frustrating. You know, it's like, you know, raising a child at times. And you're like, don't touch the stove. Don't touch the stove. It's hot. Don't touch. You know what? Just touch it.
And then they know not to touch the stove after they burn their hand.
Well, yeah.
Well, you hope.
Hope. But that's the problem, is that it's frustrating, and it drains us. And we have so many more, we have deadlines, we have things we have to get done, and everyone's asking us for more and more and more things, so we really don't have time to be patient and to say, hey, yes, this is how you plug in your audio cable. So that's part of it. So when we actually begin to get our users to buy into what we're trying to do, and they take it home, it makes our jobs easier. It's less work on us because they're doing it at home, and that behavior is being reinforced.
They have to know that we actually care about what happens to their computer and to their network, that we're not out to get them. Because a lot of our users feel victimized by security and IT in general. They're kind of threatened because we give off that vibe of, oh, it's you again. Or, oh my gosh, why did you click that button?
Right. And we berate them when they make a mistake instead of trying to coach them and teach them how to prevent it. So the last thing is we want to equip you guys. So this is tough. It is an uphill battle. It is not something that's easily done, but it can begin to change. In the way that you guys are working on, when you're dealing with your computer-based training, or you're dealing with your security awareness, or even when you're just interacting with a user, if you begin to change the way that you interact with that person, you'll start to see a change. The change begins with you. Your attitude has to change. If you want things to actually be different, you have to change. If you are constantly irritated, constantly annoyed, and constantly berating them, that affects you as well. Because every time they pick up the phone, your tone changes. You're already irritated, you're already frustrated, and that inflection comes out in your voice. If you want to start to see users change, you and your attitude needs to change first. Think of it like a client. You know, one of the things that a lot of IT resources don't realize is that the users are their client base. Now, how many companies would stay in business if we treated our clients the way IT treats our users? It wouldn't happen. So you guys need to remember that when you deal with security, we deal with IT infrastructure, is that any type of change that you want from these users, it has to start with you. It has to start with the way that you interact with them, and it has to start with your attitude. And that's part of the way you can do that positive change.
Right, and a really great example of that is, I don't know how many of you guys listen to Southern Pride Security Podcast, but Martin Fisher is really big about talking about how he brought in a positive work environment for his people. He made sure that his people were happy, tried to take off a lot of stress from them, and that translated to his users. His employees were nicer to the users. He talks about how he got like a Keurig after they cut the corporate coffee for free, and would encourage the users and other people to come over for free coffee, and that built a positive relationship between security and everybody else.
Yep, absolutely. So that's started with, so this is why we're here, right? And this is hopefully why you guys are here as well, because I hope that you're not here for any other reason than to actually want to learn how you can actually champion that change back at your organization. Now, you may not be the one writing the CBT training or the security awareness training. You may not be in that role, but you may be the person who's actually fixing all the security problems. A lot of times it begins with you, because they may not call me because I'm the jerk who irritates them, but they may call Megan because she's actually nice to them. And be like, Megan, I had this thing and I downloaded it, my computer won't work. You know, if I call Ben, he's just going to yell at me and I'm just going to get in trouble. Can you help me out here? Because Megan treats her with respect. Megan treats her like a normal human being and not some imbecile because they don't know security. And that's the other thing, too. We have this idea that everything that we know is common sense.
To us.
No, we think that everyone else should
Right.
have that as common sense. That's wrong. It's not common sense. What we know is specialized. What we know is beyond what everyone looks at and interacts with on a day-to-day basis. It's a very small subset of all of the different things that you can know. So it's not common.
So let's start with what's the problem. First of all, we act like the cops, right? We monitor their traffic. They know that we monitor their traffic. They don't really care sometimes unless they get a virus. But the way we treat them is kind of like the overly pompous highway cop. You know, oh, didn't you know that you weren't supposed to download this thing? Didn't you see the warning right here that says, you know, very dangerous virus.exe?
Or not a virus.exe.
Right.
Obfuscated attack.
So that's one of our biggest problems, is we're policing them instead of working with them and coaching them to make better decisions. And kind of playing along with that, we're kind of condescending. And it works well in this environment where we're interfacing with one another, because I know if I say something sarcastic to Deviant, he's just going to sit there and laugh and come back at me. Same thing with Renderman or somebody else, right? But if we do that to our users, they don't know, they're not used to that, and they think we're attacking them.
Right.
Or we're talking down to them like they're children.
Right. Everyone talks to me like I'm a child.
Well, that's because you're like that tall.
But but it's that condescending tone,
Yeah.
right? Really, you didn't know that? Oh, did you see the alert? Oh, you did. You saw that and it said unauthorized. Oh, you saw it and you clicked it. Oh, okay. Oh, didn't you see it? It's right here. Did you read it? Did you RTFM? Let me help you out here.
Didn't you see the email where we said we were going to do a test phishing attack?
Right, yeah, exactly. We told you that was going there. Oh, stupid user, right? That's part of the problem. The other part is this. I'm a consultant. This is not far off from a lot of you guys out there. Okay? I had to almost give my firstborn to get access to one of your companies. So, it's ridiculous. This does not improve your security posture, folks. It doesn't. This is not the solution. What this has done is made it complicated, invasive. And the more complicated and invasive it is, the greater chance that they're either going to forget it, and your help desk tickets are going to go through the roof because everyone can't remember their password, or they're going to write it down. Now, they're probably not going to write that down in a password manager.
They don't even know what a password manager is.
What's most users' password manager electronically? Shout it out. Excel. That's it. But I password protected it. You use the same password. Doesn't do any good.
We're supposed to use different passwords for different things?
That's it. That's their password managers, Excel. I put it all in there. This doesn't work. You know what works? Passphrases. Passphrases. I did this with my organization. I said, I will do 15-character passwords, upper, lower, special, changing every 90 days. Or I said up 14 or fewer.
15.
Yeah, 15 or fewer. And they said, nope, we really don't want to do that. I said, okay, or we make it longer than 15, but you have to use a passphrase. And I said, let's try this. And I gave them some random number, and I put it on the screen for 30 seconds, and I said, anyone remember that? I'll give you a $100 Visa gift card. It was 15, upper, lower, special. None of us in this room can do that. I mean, maybe somebody could, but very few of us can. But I said, Ben has a fuzzy pink hairdo. Now, that's actually pretty long.
Yeah.
What was the password? Exactly.
Yeah.
You see? You see the difference? It was easy to remember. And one of the cool things I ever did is I said, in your office space, whatever that may be, look it around so that if you don't remember what that passphrase was, the picture on the right wall is blue. Boom. There's your password. Although I did... Do not do this at home. Sorry.
Wait, are you old enough to drink?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is disgusting.
So while Ben has his mouth full, it also plays into what they do at home. Our users, most of the sites they use don't have these insane password requirements. Major banks, eight characters long, no special character requirement. I feel so bad for you. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, they go to sites, Facebook, Bank of America, where they manage their credit card, everything like that, and they have very simplistic password requirements. And then they come into work. You okay? If you're going to puke that way.
This is disgusting. Who can drink this? This is illegal.
You. Nobody's forcing you to finish it. Where's Dave? Dave's not here.
You guys are totally rad on me.
Yeah. And it's being recorded, so. Hi.
It's like a kangaroo.
I kind of just want to stare at him until he finishes it. But yeah, so when they switched over to passphrases, Ben told me, people actually use them and were less likely to write down the passphrases. They would change them regularly because it wasn't that big of a deal. Thank you for taking
If you work at Smirnoff, I hate you.
Anything else you wanted to add about passwords?
Oh, dude, that hurts my stomach. So that's the whole thing. I will say, one of the coolest passwords I ever found on a sticky note, and actually, I was, going through, they had a little sticky note up there and it said, Dr., Dr., space, APPT at 4:30 p.m. That was their password. I'm like, I'm not even mad, bro. You can keep it. It's fine. That's cool, man. I'm not even mad. I'm not writing you up. Keep it. That's awesome. But come up with something that they can remember, right? Get away from these ridiculous policies. They're not helping you. They're not. How many of you actually think that your security posture is stronger with these policies? Anyone?
Liar. Really?
We've seen a lot of password hashes get popped. These are more difficult to prove.
So,
Yeah.
but that's entropy, though. That's part of it is entropy. Because if it's 14 or fewer characters, let me guess what? It just splits it up into 2 different 7s, and it's not that difficult. So you need to have a significant amount of length. But overall, your users they're not more secure. I'm about to burp. This stuff is nasty. Oh, yeah. Question. Isn't that disgusting? Sorry.
And I had garlic fries to breathe on him.
I'm sorry. Say your question. Go ahead. So his comment was that this doesn't address password reuse, and if you give them that ability, they will. Okay, so I'm not talking about necessarily about the number of ones they can reuse. However, all right, here's the point. We're doing this to prevent cracking, right? That's the whole purpose of this, is to make cracking harder. But in all honesty, most of these policies and the way that they're designed, it's do not ice me again.
So what you do is you wear a clown mask.
I know. Rennerman, go ahead.
At 1:30 on Sunday in track 4, doing the confessions of a crypto course operator, we'll find like basically that or passwords they're still blocked.
Right. Right. So his comment was that there's actually Saturday at what time? Sunday at 1:30. There's actually a crypto guy. But this is the whole point, right? Is now, and we. I'm gonna drop kick him.
What you do is you call the police.
I'm gonna stand up on a ladder, then drop kick him. So the whole point is about getting past the crackers. That's the whole point. Longer is better, and you're right. There's no perfect solution, and we're not saying that it's perfect. We're saying overall, when you adopt a different password methodology, they're going to stop writing it down. They're going to stop putting it in Excel. Essentially, they'll be able to remember it easier. And then guess what happens? Because my users did this. They actually went back, and they're like, I did this on my home computer and on my bank. I tried to do it on Microsoft, but they only allow 16 characters. You know? But they actually went back because, like, it's easier to remember. And you've got that entropy that you needed. Sorry, we delayed that one.
And then finally, the FUD. Are you going to be okay?
No.
Okay.
I'll be all right.
Then stay over there. And then finally, this goes back to how we present things, right? So it's not just how we talk to our users, it's also how we get buy-in from our execs. Because what's the easiest way to explain why they need to get a DLP solution or get crypto? It's, well, we don't want to be the next target.
Right.
Or
Right.
we don't want all of our machines compromised like Sony was, and scare them into listening to us. And then after a while, it's kind of like Chicken Little. You know, the sky's falling. And then nothing happens.
Right. And that's the other thing, too, is that everyone loves to come in and sky's falling, Chicken Little it, you know, and that's great for trying to get some revenue, but the users don't buy it. They don't care. It's whatever. You know, you're just impeding their ability to get their job done, you know. So the FUD only lasts for so long. It only works up to a certain point. It's not working with the users.
And it's not working with execs either, because there's been reports recently that show, well, a breach doesn't really impact my stock price that much.
Right. So, yeah. So you got to be careful about how you display this. It's easier to get buy-in when you're nice and people want to do this than to try and scare them to do it. All right. So can you guys all welcome Joe Sudo to the stage? So I have Joe here. He's my little guy, and I brought him to show you that there are people that are smaller than me.
Who are also 7.
Yes, he's supposed to be small. That's the problem. So you guys can still see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to have him demonstrate something for you guys. Hold on. Do not tweet me during this talk. Oh, boy. I turned off notifications. Don't worry.
We
All right,
tested it.
so I'm going to have him do something real quick. And as he does it, I want you guys to see what he does. Now, think of this like your home users when they get home, right? This is what they're doing. Is that a box? No, I'm all right. Thank you.
Oh, I thought it was for him to stand on. Oh, sorry, Jeremy.
We're not friends anymore.
Oh, love you.
Let's go ahead. So keep going. Don't buy anything. Okay? So this is what happens. You understand that the people that are making these games are doing this research. They're seeing how the user interacts. They're seeing what they do, what they click, and where things go. They also figure out how quickly or how frequent they need to put the pop-ups for the ads. This is for the in-app purchases. And a lot of you guys have seen that. And a lot of times people will get, how many of you have been playing a game and all of a sudden you went to hit something and bam, it was like a millisecond before that ad popped right there. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time, doesn't it? And you're like, no, I didn't want to buy that. And that's exactly what they do. They have actual studies on that. So this is what they're doing when they go home. This is what our kids and the next generation of people that we're going to be hiring, this is what they're built up on. They're learning this right now. It's being a conditioned response. That's what people don't get. We're conditioning our future generation on how they're going to interact with the software and things that we develop. And the moment that something pops up, typically they're going to hit what? Okay. Do it. Now, I've trained my son here, so he knows not to do it, but I'm sure it's happened occasionally because I've gotten a little email saying, you've just purchased 5,000 bones. Congratulations. And I'm like, that's coming out of your allowance. You having fun over there?
He's going to keep playing.
All right, can you guys give Joe a hand? So he does have his own Twitter account, so you guys are welcome to follow him around.
Oh, are we going to put the thing back on?
Huh? A violent Twitter EULA?
Violate.
Oh, it's actually, I'm the one that owns it, because it's me. I'm just a small, no one will know the difference. So here's the other problem.
They don't care why they need to be more secure, right? It goes partly because we're bad at explaining things in a way that makes them understand and care. But ultimately, they're like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to hit add exception anyway. Oh, block the pop-up? Nope. There's no reason for them to not do these things or to do the right thing, right, as we tell them, or as is written in our policies.
So why don't they care? There's no personal investment. Give me some other answer. Why do you think they don't care? So that's not always true. His answer was no repercussions, but that's not always true. I've seen it depends, but you're right. What? They haven't been set on fire yet. That's a very valid point. Yep.
If all those things are true, that they have, responsibility and all that, they're just so overwhelming that they just give up.
So they're overwhelmed, right? So they don't care anymore. Yeah.
It's not their job.
It's not their job. All the way in the back. I'm sorry? You already tuned me out? Right now? Thanks, man. I hear the next talk's better. Yeah. Change is very hard. Yeah, all the way in the back. So we design systems that make security hard. That might be a good segue. Is it the next one?
Next one.
Well,
Okay, so the next one is...
hold on. It's not a good segue, but hold on.
No.
We're going to come back to that.
It'll be a good segue in a couple of minutes.
What?
Okay.
Oh, you are the Nigerian prince?
No, he knows him.
Oh, he knows him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So our users are largely clueless, right? They don't know why it's bad to do the thing. So when we were hashing out this talk, I was talking to Ben about how shortly after Derbycon, or it was like right before or something like that, when Heartbleed first came out, I got a call from my mom asking, hey, have you heard about Heartbleed? I'm like, yeah? Have you heard about Heartbleed? And she's like, oh yeah, it was on the news. Do I need to update my phone or something? And I'm like, no? It threw me because they don't know why they patch or what we're patching or what impacts the other thing because it's not their job to, right? They kind of look to us and call on us to be able to know what to do, when, and why. And sometimes they like we said the previous slide, they don't care about the why. They just need to know what to do to keep the bad thing from happening to them.
Didn't your mom ask you to upgrade her phone to the cloud?
Oh, no. So my mom, when she first got her iPhone, she sat down with me at dinner. We were visiting, and she's like, can you turn my phone into a cloud? And I'm like, well, no, there's condensation involved, and I'm explaining the meteorology to her, and she's like, well, no, I want to be able to access my music anywhere. I'm like, oh, the cloud. Okay, cool.
Not a cloud.
A cloud.
Yeah.
So they don't get it. It's kind of hard and overly technical for them.
So this is going to further prove our point. So we're going to show this little video, give you a quick synopsis. This guy created a social experiment where he was able to see who was logged in, checked in, whatever the case may be, in his local geographic location. Then he pulled up that information, did some open source intelligence based off of what they put publicly, then went up to them as though he was a psychic, as though he automatically knew what they were doing. So let's watch see what happens here. You have to hit it twice.
Oh, don't forget to put the mic towards the screen again.
Thanks.
Yeah. Got your back.
I'm Jack Vale, and I wanted to see how easy it would be to get personal information from complete strangers. And while I'm at it, of course, freak them out a little bit. Keep in mind when you watch this video, I got all of this information just by searching their personal social media posts.
Buffering.
Buffer.
Well, he did index it, but it failed.
Security's hard.
It is hard.
I don't even computer, bro. Yeah. So looks like we might have to talk a little about that. So basically, he went up to the people, did exactly what we said. He's like, "Hey, are you Megan? And do you have a dog named whatever?" And so they really thought it was cool, and they were oblivious to the fact that, like, he went up to one person. He's like, "Didn't you just have pasta?" She had just Instagrammed her pasta. She didn't think that maybe this guy got that off of the internet. She honestly believed that he was a psychic. Like, she truly, legitimately believed that he was a psychic.
And he wished two girls happy birthday because they were having a birthday lunch. And he's like, oh, happy birthday. And you just had a birthday like 7 weeks ago, right? And they're like, what?
Right.
How did you know this?
So some people actually got very upset. Let's see if this one will work. Hopefully.
Hi, I'm Jack Vale, and
Hold on. It's all right, Jack. Hold on. Oh. Click on the ad.
Told you to do that because that's a lie. Did you lose your license somewhere? Seriously, did you drop it?
there's some business that you're in, some kind of a business that has to do with cell company or phone company or something like that. Yes? Wait. Is it AT&T?
What the is that?
AT&T, yeah. Let me see what else I can find out from your Instagram. So this is a social media experiment. There's video cameras. Through that picture, we were able to find out all kinds of other stuff. No, it's just. Oh no, it was just a little prank, a hidden camera prank. You're welcome. See you later.
So they had this expectation of privacy because they posted things on Instagram publicly, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And when he brought it up in public, that one guy was like, do it again, I'll call the police. Well, maybe you shouldn't post that stuff on Twitter, bro.
Because it's not illegal for us to look at your public information, on a public social media website like that. So if you, huh? That's where they keep their passwords in Excel. So that's part of the problem. They really have this expectation. And so if that's their expectation of their personal life, what do you think their expectation is of the corporate? We look at that and we laugh. But do you honestly believe if that's what we're bringing into our organization, that anything that we're trying to work on our computer-based training or your PowerPoint or your 25 legal document that they sign, do you think that's actually impacting these people? It's not. It's not going to help you guys in any way whatsoever. No. Just tap. Do you even computer? Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a real iPad.
It's a Surface.
So what do we do about this? We gave you the problem. We gave you the why there's the problem. What do we do about it? Well, first of all, we have to champion positive change. We have to make them want to do better and be more secure. So we need to think about what does and doesn't work, and it's going to be different for different groups of folks. So first we have our users, all right? We know that if we establish a habit that's easy to maintain, that they can do at home and bring into work, it'll work. It'll stick with them over the long term. And if we start them young enough, they'll come into the workforce with those habits established. And we have to give them use cases. Not FUD, the target breach. Most of them have already forgotten about that. But would you give out your child's social security number? Well, no. Why would I give out my child's social security number?
Right.
He's like, okay, well, why would you give out this information? Why would you take a picture of your credit card and post it on Twitter? Right? Well, I just got it. Because it has a cool picture on it.
When you guys focus on families, it speaks volumes. When you focus on their families, it speaks volumes. When you should, hey, I'm not telling you this because I think you're bad. I'm telling you this because your kid might be vulnerable to it. Then they stop and they listen because they care. They don't want to see their kids hurt. They don't want... That guy could have been some creep for all that matters, right? It could have been some creep. So when you show them something like this, you show them a video that's like that, and you're like, I'm not going to hound on you because you do this.
How do I make it go back?
The back button.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to hound on you. It's a good thing it's not an iPad.
I know.
I'm not going to hound on you, but I want you to get excited. I want you to care about what might happen to your family. I want you to be, I care about you and your family. I care about you and your kids. So when they begin to champion this change with their kids, they also go, maybe I really don't want to be doing it too.
Right. And how do we get them to adopt this change? And it's a really interesting thing in psychology right now to study the habit formation loop. So what happens is to form a habit, there's a cue, a reward, or a routine, an action that follows the cue, and then a reward for performing the thing. So the example here is brushing your teeth. Back in the 1920s, a marketing person was tasked with trying to sell toothpaste. Traditionally, toothpaste sold horribly. Nobody wanted to use it. Dental care wasn't a huge thing. So what they did was they added mint to the toothpaste. And then they marketed it as, well, your mouth is clean because you have that fresh, clean feeling inside of your mouth. So the cue is, okay, well, I have bad breath. My teeth are a little yellow from the coffee. So I'm going to brush my teeth. And then you have that minty cleanness as the reward. It's kind of like an intrinsic thing like, oh, okay, it feels nice and fresh and clean. And then they'll keep doing it because they like that clean, fresh feeling.
Not realizing that they're actually helping their teeth, right? Because it's that positive feedback loop that they now get because they can actually, they have a nice mint feeling in their mouth.
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so
security people.
Yeah, so this we kind of talked on this a little bit. It's a positive versus negative reinforcement. I told you guys back in 2012 that I tried punishing my users, and we did that. It didn't work. I tried rewarding them, and it changed. I tried highlighting the fact that when you identify a security risk, I'm actually going to reward you. We did a security competition, and what we did is we had a week-long competition, and when they identified a security risk, we gave them points. And then at the end of the competition, whoever had the most points got a Visa gift card. During the competition, they actually identified a real-life security risk, one which was not part of the test, because they were looking for it, because they were looking for that feedback loop. If I report a security issue, I get a benefit, not if I saw Megan, she did something not good on security, and they ripped her a new one, I'm not talking to them. I'm not saying anything. Why would I do that? Why do I want to get in trouble? It may not be me, but I'm certainly not going to get in trouble. I have a virus on my computer. I don't know if that was me, Facebook, or not, but I'm not telling anyone because I'm going to get ripped a new one. Not, I'm going to get a benefit. Thank you for letting us know. Right? So that's a big part of it.
And then finally, oh, I'm sorry. So we also have trainers. So as someone who does training as part of their job, I try to make it more interactive because if you sit there and you talk at them all day and just go through the slides, they're going to get bored. They're going to tune you out. They're going to go off and do other things. So you have to find a way to make it interactive. Participation. We try to get you guys to tell us what works with you. We're going to have a little experiment in a few seconds. Actually, we got to hurry up. But
Yep, so we got to hurry up. So we're going to go to that.
Also, executives. So what works for everybody else is totally different from our execs.
Yep, it's a different ballgame. You can't use the same strategy. It doesn't work with them. You have to... I'm not saying this that you social engineer your executives, but I'm saying social engineer your executives. I'm serious.
If you prop them up as someone who supports security because look at this cool thing they did, even though it really wasn't that cool, they could have been like, oh, they stopped someone from following behind them after they badged in. And so they're an ambassador for security, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm an ambassador for security.
And you do that at the team meeting when everyone's around.
Right.
And we want to highlight Megan because she stopped somebody. Good job, Megan. Nice job on the security side. It pumps them up, and they're like, yeah, that's awesome. I want to get more of that. It's that whole feedback loop. Remember when Joe was playing the game? He got stuff. It was a positive feedback loop. When if he clicked it, if he lost all of his money, he wouldn't want to click it anymore, right? That doesn't help. So I want to do something real quick. We need a volunteer. Now, so I have three drink ticket tokens to the after party tomorrow night. This is for any mixed drink or anything for free.
For the first volunteer.
For the first volunteer. Okay, come on up. Come on up. Can you guys give her a hand? Come on up.
Yeah. Oh, over there. Yeah, this is my spot.
Okay, so here's the deal. What we want to do is we want to test your knowledge about security campaigns and what works, what doesn't. You have 20 seconds to answer 4 questions. They're really simple. If you don't answer it in the 20 seconds that we've got, you don't get the drink tokens. Okay, do you think you can do it? You guys think she can do it?
I don't know.
Okay, you only have 20 seconds. There's no chance. You got to be quick. You ready?
Okay.
Ready? Go. Don't help her. Go. 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 Come on, you're losing time. Come on. Come on.
You're just going to.
You're running out of time. Go.
Well,
Go. Ah.
Yes.
Give her a hand. You actually get the tokens.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, honestly, what did you want to do?
I wanted to read it carefully and look at the answers.
But when they add it,
delete and close down the app.
So you wanted, but you wanted to get it off the window as fast as possible,
Yes,
right?
I wanted to get off the window.
As fast as possible, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So, can you guys give her a hand? If security people can be vulnerable to that, why do we expect our users not to be? They're in the middle of doing their job. They have a time limit. They only have 8 hours. They have to get ready for the deliverable for the meeting.
They have a short, angry person yelling at them to finish it quickly.
Exactly. With a high-pitched voice. Come on, guys!
Hurry up.
So if we can be vulnerable to it, why do we expect anything else of our users? And that's the whole point. Now, I'm going to close with this. If there's developers in here, you don't have to raise your hand because this is not going to be pleasant. The developers are part of this problem. If you have interactive dialogues on your systems where they enter okay and they're like, oh, please confirm that you want to do this, constant dialogues, you're part of the problem because you're teaching them to constantly hit yes. We need fewer dialogues. We need fewer interactions. If there's an error and that you actually don't want the user to do anything, it shouldn't be displayed to the user. It should be sent as an event or sent to the team. So that's part of the problem, is that we're actually conditioning our users to constantly hit the OK button. Yes, click OK. Yeah, exactly. So that's part of the problem. So a lot of that becomes with the developers in changing the way that we develop our applications.
We upset a developer.
Oh, sorry. I'm a developer too, buddy. We'll hug. Hold on. That's part of the problem. And so the users are like, I just want to enter this, but I have to hit OK 15 times. And so then when that Java applet pops up, guess what? They're already behind the 8 ball. So what are they going to click? Are they going to stop there and read it and try and figure it out? What are they going to click? Run.
And also, so it's not just we're displaying these items, these warnings, these pop-ups, etc. They all look the same. They're all the same gray color. They're all in the same location. So another temporary fix could be changing things up. Disrupt that habit of clicking in the middle,
right,
in the gray box.
So before we close,
Yeah.
we want to talk about this. We want to begin a champion of a security framework where people actually can learn from each other, learn what works, what doesn't work. So Kai Rohr, who we both know, is a great guy who's doing a security culture thing. You guys need to take a picture of this, follow him on Twitter, figure out what he's doing, because he's doing a great job at trying to get people to actually change how they do security. This is pivotal, this is important. But he can't do it by himself. We're tapped on time. We can't do it.
Quadling says I'm not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, if I accept one more speaking engagement, I will probably be, have to sleep outside, with the dog. And there's plenty of room in the doghouse because I'm small enough. So it'll be fine. But I like to sleep in my own bed. So with that being said, we want you guys to tweet Pavlovian security, what works, what doesn't. We want to get this thing trending so we can actually see how we can improve things, what doesn't work, what does work.
We want to see both. So tell us what you've done in your environment with your users that got them to be more secure, and then also let us know what doesn't work. It's kind of like Stack Overflow, right? Like, oh, we're going to try this thing and this thing, but oh, only this one thing works.
Right.
We need to have this open dialogue with one another.
Yep. And I know we're a little over, so if you guys have any questions. All right, if you guys do have questions, come up. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.